Don't ask me why I chose to put jeans on and then get cozy on the bed. I couldn't answer that question. Especially being pregnant, like, things just aren't as comfy anymore. Hello, friends. Okay, I've got my cozy cup of coffee in a thrifted mug that I absolutely love, that I think I got for $2 at Goodwill. So that was a major score for me. And I have my coffee pot coffee with my store creamer that is not any kind of fancy latte or anything like that. But am I the only person that just feels like a pot of coffee feels so much more like home to me? I don't know if it's because I grew up and our family always had like a pot of coffee, or it just takes me back to like a Folgers commercial in the 90s where it just felt like cozy and morning sunlight was pouring in and there was a steaming cup of coffee from a coffee pot. I don't know, it just feels so much more cozy to me. So my coffee pot coffee, and I've got my journal and I've got my phone, because today we're dreaming. We're gonna be dreamers together, and I love videos like this. As you can tell, I love a good New Year's reset. I love a good New Year's goals, visions, intentions. I even love a good vision board. And okay, listen, I feel like sometimes I don't always fit in to this category, because I feel like a lot of the videos that I've watched of videos like this, it's a very specific type of that girl. You know, remember that trend where it was like that girl that wakes up at 6 a.m. and drinks a green smoothie every day and sets her goals for the day and works out for an hour and a half every day. Like, listen, that's not me. And not to say that it won't be me at some point in my life, but I really don't see that happening. I have a very chill approach to New Year's and goals and resolutions, things like that, where I like to see it as a time where I am just reflecting on the previous year and dreaming for the new year. I don't believe in manifestation. I don't believe in trying to, manifest by thinking of something in a certain way and meditating on it in a certain way. I don't believe that. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I think that our prayers can be answered. I don't think that they're always answered in the way that we expect them to be. And I don't think that God has to answer our prayers. That doesn't mean that he doesn't love us. That doesn't mean that he doesn't love me. It just means that my life is not under my control, and that's okay. And I fully let go of that control. But at the same time, I truly feel like in my relationship with Jesus over the years, he has just constantly been inviting me to dream with him, and constantly been inviting me to share my heart with him, with the little things that feel really minuscule and feel really not important, I guess, and write them down and just tell him about my heart and my heart's desire. And it's crazy to see over the last couple years how doing that and writing things down to the specifics, how God has shown up for me in that way. It is just mind-blowing to me. Like, even how Marcus and I met this last year, like there was specific things that I asked for God to do. I mean, an example of that is over the last several years before meeting Marcus, my now husband, and there was things that I prayed about for years while I was single that I wanted to have in a husband and I wanted to have in my life. and in the home that I wanted to live in, and being a mom. And one of the examples of me just sharing my heart with God and Him making that come to fruition was I prayed. And I remember telling my friends about this and thinking, I know this is stupid, and I know that God doesn't have to work in this way for me, and He doesn't have to show up in this way, but man, if He did, that would be great. So I'm just gonna ask for it and see what happens. I prayed that, Lord, my next relationship, please let that relationship be a man that I'm going to marry, because I can't handle another breakup. My heart can't do it. I'm too soft. I'm too much of a wuss. And I would just love if my next relationship is the person that I'm going to marry. Even if that means that I am single for years and years, or the rest of my life. And I would love if you could just have Him somehow tell me that I'm the one before we even start dating, before we're even in a locked relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend. If for some reason He could just be already in love with me and know that I'm the one and tell me that before we even get into an official relationship, that would make my life so much easier, and it would make my heart feel so much more comfortable. And I feel like I would know that that's the right person. And by George, He did it. And I know that this is a very abnormal situation, and in some situations it could even be like a red flag, but in this situation it wasn't. And that is exactly what happened. It was like after, I think Marcus and I had been on 2, maybe 3 dates, and it was in the first 2 weeks of us meeting. Marcus felt like I was the girl that he had prayed for. And he told me that. He kind of just blurted it out. And I remember thinking that this really should freak me out since we've only met 2 weeks ago, but this is exactly what I asked for. This is exactly what I asked for God to do, to give my heart reassurance, and He did. So I guess I can't really freak out about it because this is literally what I asked for. So things like that, it has made me realize that God wants to know my heart, and He wants to show up for me in those specific ways where I know that it's Him. And so I just think that I've gotten more bold with just sharing with God, like, this is what I would love. This is what I would love to happen. And if it doesn't, then Your will be done. And I trust You, and I know that You still love me, and no harm, no foul. But I at least want to share my heart with You. So I think that that's kind of how New Year's dreaming and dreaming for the future is for me. And especially this last year, so many of the things that I had prayed for so long, I had prayed for to get married. I always wanted to be a wife. I always wanted to be married. I always wanted to have a partner and a companion. And at 29, that actually came to fruition. That actually happened. And you guys have seen in previous videos where I've talked about that desire and the desire to be a mom and to have a family. That's always been my heart. And it was accompanied with, like, okay, if that doesn't happen, then I know that I will be okay. Then I know that God is good, and that I will have purpose. And that doesn't take away from my femininity. That doesn't take away from my heart as a woman. But it was always still my desire. It was always still my desire. So being in a season right now where I am living out those dreams. I am living out those prayers, those answered prayers. And I just feel so strongly that it is truly God, that it is God that has made all this happen. And even though I didn't do things perfectly, it wasn't off of my own obedience or being a perfect Christian person or doing things the right way. It was just God's faithfulness and showing up for me. And especially seeing that season happen in the past, it has made me so much bolder with the future and dreaming. And it's kind of crazy because I feel like 2024 was kind of the end of an era for me. It was an end of a season of waiting and praying and the end of a chapter. And this feels like the start of a new chapter, the start of a new season. So that was the longest intro of my life. I guess that's kind of part of the video too. But I would love to actually get into, since that's kind of talking about the past, this past year, how God has shown up for me, how some of my dreams, prayers came to fruition. I want to talk about this next year and what I would love it to look like. And this will probably be a long video. Okay, this will be a chit-chatty one. So I hope that you have a cup of tea too, or maybe you're getting ready or cleaning your house or whatever. And you can just put this on in the background and listen while you are being productive. But let's get into 2025 and things that I've been dreaming about, things that I would love to come to fruition. And as I'm chatting about this, I want to do I don't know if a screen recording would be the best. I probably want to do a screen recording of going through my Pinterest board, which is basically like, I guess what you would call a vision board. A vision board feels very woo-woo to me, but it is what it is. So I want to screen record as I go through these things and kind of get to show you guys my vision for 2025. Okay, so I figured that it would be good to just start with my Notion. Any organized girlies out there probably know Notion is the way to go. So I just have a list here of my 2025 goals, and I'm just gonna kind of like run through them. And they're kind of categorized, kind of not. It's a little bit of a mishmash. So I'm going to go through my Notion first, and then we'll go through my Pinterest board. So my first 2025 goal is to drink 80 ounces of water daily for at least 30 days. And this is probably a low bar for some people, but I am so not a good water drinker. I suck at drinking water, and honestly, pregnancy has probably helped the most with that because I am so much more thirsty. So I think I've done pretty good at that since becoming pregnant. It's not consistent though. Like I'll have a stretch of like 3 or 4 days where I'll drink at least 80 ounces or more, and then I'll have a day in the middle where I just completely fall off the bandwagon, and then I feel really sick and I'll get kind of like morning sickness feeling, and I do not do well. So that's one goal, is I just want to do at least 30 days in a row just to set the habit in my head and lock it in so I can be healthy, so the baby in my belly is going to be healthy, and I can support my health as much as possible. The next is less pointless Instagram and Facebook scrolling. Now, I feel like I really nailed this down a couple years ago, like maybe even last year. I felt like I had a really good handle on my social media. When I went onto social media, it felt really uplifting, it felt encouraging, I felt inspired, I was following the right people, that made me want to improve my life and better my life. And I don't feel that way now. I'm following the same people, but it just seems like my Instagram and Facebook is so much more like random reels now that have nothing to do with my life, nothing to do with anything inspiring or encouraging for me. And it just ends up being like random videos of people like slipping and falling, or like getting scared by someone that's wearing a monster mask, or like a cat falling off of a TV, like just stuff that I don't like and I'm not entertained by, but I end up watching because it's just there. So I want to figure out how to make social media feel like a cozy place again. And I know it can be done because I've done it before. So that's a goal, especially going into this season of motherhood. I don't want to be in the doom scroll pit for the first 6 months of my baby's life, especially thinking about postpartum. I don't want to be in the social media pit and in the reel scrolling pit. I just don't think that would be good for my mental health. I don't think that it would be good for my baby or my new family. I just don't want that. So I want to really figure out how to get a better handle on that before I jump into motherhood, because right now it's a mess. I'm not gonna lie, it's really a fail. So that's one thing that I really want to do. And kind of a side note with that is I want to have a healthy, positive postpartum experience. I should add that. Positive postpartum era. Because honestly, I feel so much more nervous about postpartum more than I am about giving birth. That season really scares me. I don't want it to be something where I just feel horrible and I get the baby blues and I'm not getting any sleep and I'm frustrated because I don't know what I'm doing and I'm figuring out how to be a mom and I'm comparing myself, and then I'm on social media and I'm just lazy and I feel fat and like just, I know that's like being very hard on myself, but those are real fears that I have about postpartum. I want it to be a positive experience even amongst the hardships that come with this huge learning curve and this huge change in my life and learning how to be a parent and a mom. And I still want there to be joy in it, and I still want there to be peace in it and the Holy Spirit in it. I don't want to get lost in it if possible. So I think that's kind of like piggybacking on the doom scrolling because I could see that like going hand in hand with a negative postpartum experience. Another thing that I'm going to add is a positive birth experience. And I'm trying not to get really in the weeds with this because honestly, I've never given birth to anything in my life. So I don't know what it's going to be like. And as much as I would love to get on the train of like, I'm going to be totally natural, I'm not going to have an epidural, I'm not going to do this, not going to do that, everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to be beautiful. I would love for that to be my experience, and that is what I want. That's what I want. But also, I don't know what the frick is going to happen. I don't know what it's going to feel like. I don't know what birth is going to be like. And with some of the health problems that I have, I don't know what is going to happen. So I want to have a really gracious expectation on myself and on the birth experience in general. But I do want to still verbalize what I would like. I would like it to feel like a joyful, beautiful, spiritual experience. I don't want it to just feel medical. I don't want it to feel scary. I don't want there to be like panic in the room. I want it to feel sacred. Sacred with Marcus and I, sacred with, I think my mom's gonna be there, I think his mom's gonna be there. I want it to feel sacred with them, with our birth provider. Honestly, I haven't even picked a birth provider yet. I'm trying to figure that out. So I'm hoping that I would love for the person that helps me through birth be someone that knows Jesus and that can invite the Holy Spirit into that also. And I just want it to feel intuitive and I don't know. I want to feel empowered by it. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have moments of breaking down or crying or being overwhelmed by the pain or whatever it is. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be this tough person the whole time, but I want it to feel empowering still amongst the hardship of labor. So we'll see. I think I'm going to add some positive birth experience pictures to my vision board as well. I think that would be a good thing for me. So that's another thing that I'm really hoping for and praying for in 2025. I also want to support my changing body. I've been surprised at how hard it's been to see my body change and gain weight. And I've gained a good 15 pounds already with this pregnancy, and we're almost halfway through, which is crazy and exciting. I'll give you a little bump update if you want. If you want to see the baby belly, it's kind of small. I'm not gonna lie. It's a little bit small still because I'm so tall that I don't think some people even know I'm pregnant still. But I want to support my body and encourage my body as it changes, as it grows, as I, who knows, maybe get stretch marks or gain fat or have swelling, all the things that sometimes come with pregnancy. I want to be gracious and gentle and encouraging on my body because I tend to have like an all or nothing mindset of if I'm not eating 100% perfect, then I'm failing. And I want to totally nix that narrative. I want to support my body and give good nourishment to my body as much as I can and have good nourishing whole foods, but also be gentle in my body. If I have a day where I do have a crazy craving or I feel really sick and don't want to eat vegetables or whatever it might be, I want to have that kind of flexibility of, okay, my body's never been pregnant. I've never been pregnant. It's trying to figure itself out. I'm trying to learn what works, what doesn't. And I want to allow myself for some flexibility. But also at the same time, I don't want to just totally give in to every craving and sit on the couch all day long, because that isn't good for my mental health and that doesn't make me physically feel good or feel like I'm nourishing my body or my baby. So there's a balance, and in 2025 I'm hoping we can figure it out, because right now it's just like it's up and down still. I feel like I've felt better about the last couple weeks, but up until this point it's been a struggle. The next one is cultivate peace and structure with dogs. Our dogs are probably one of the most stressful parts of my life right now, I'm not gonna lie. The transition of having all three of them all together and the 2 male dogs together. It was a rough transition, and it was chaotic, and there was fighting and lots of energy and lots of mess and hair everywhere, and it has felt very overwhelming for me. And it's been really hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's been really hard for me. And I am very nervous. Already feeling stressed in that way, and then going into motherhood with that, and having a baby, and trying to figure out calm with the dogs and calm with the baby. And I'm nervous about that. And I want to figure that out, hopefully before baby comes. So one thing that we're doing is we are building a fence around a huge lawn area on our property that they will have access to, that they can run, rip, snort around, and also be kind of separate from the house. If I need to just be with the baby, they can be outside. So I think that will help. Also, I want to really work on training, especially Quigley, the no digging, no chewing, no jumping up, no barking, come when you're called, stay back from the door when visitors come over, stay off of bed, and or stay on their bed, but also stay off of our bed and our couch. Calm when people come over, and when they come out of their space, which is our laundry room. They have access to our laundry room and our backyard when we're at work. And when they come out, they're just like wild and crazy. So it makes me not want to have people over because I'm so nervous about them being so wild and crazy. So I'm really hoping and praying that that's something that, whether it's through training or changing the fences or whatever it is, that we can really figure out how to cultivate more calm with the dogs and more obedience with them, because it's really hard, and I don't want to continue the cycle that we have been on. A huge goal for 2025, this is kind of the farm part of this video, is building a garden. I'm so excited about this. I've always wanted a beautiful garden, and the last couple of years I've had the biggest garden that I've ever had, but it was 2 large beds and some of my pots and like the mesh pots, and I got so much food from that garden and so much nourishment from that garden. I learned so much and I loved it. But I am really hoping to create I don't know if it would be like my forever garden, but my, at least for the next 5 years, garden. Right now, Marcus is actually outside. He is working on building the fence that's gonna go around it, and we're gonna have probably 6 large raised beds with arches in between. And we're gonna take the arch that we got married under, and that's gonna be the entrance into our garden. So it's just gonna have this beautiful entrance and gate into our garden, and it's gonna look beautiful. And I can't wait. I can't wait to have a garden that we can grow food, and I've gotten really into gardening the last year, so I'm just excited to be able to do more of that, but also that it's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be a beautiful place for me to be, and I think especially when I'm in postpartum days, I think it'll be such a good little project for me while I'm not working, home with the baby, where I can just have a little bit of time to go out every day, and whether that's watering or pulling weeds, I want it to be as self-sufficient as possible. I think maybe we'll put up some kind of drip system or something like that to make it doable and easier for me, because I don't want to have this huge project and be in the middle of postpartum. But I also want to be able to go out and putter in the garden with the baby. That is a huge dream of mine. And I think it'll be so fun to see that come to fruition this year. So that is a huge goal. I would love to work on my YouTube channel, and I think I've been hesitating some on wanting to upload because I'm not necessarily loving the way that things are looking always, which isn't everything. That's the content itself isn't all about the aesthetic of it, but part of it is, and that's a part of the creativity of it, and the beautiful expression of creativity is how things look and make you feel. And I want to figure out why I feel like that's not hitting in the way that I'm wanting it to. I want things to look more bright and airy, and I want the lighting to be better. I want the focus on the videos to be better. And there's a couple things that I'm dreaming about with my YouTube channel that I would love to kind of hone in on that and nail down what I'm wanting it to look like, feel like, what I'm wanting to say with this channel, and my presence when I show up on YouTube. Okay, so let's hop over to Pinterest and look at my Pinterest board. Okay, this one, I love this one because I am hoping that we can do some outside meals. I think that would be so fun to just have some cozy outdoor dinners. We have a picnic table outside, and Marcus built that outdoor patio that is absolutely beautiful. And I would love to be able to maybe host some people this summer. We'll see how postpartum goes. This could be a little lofty. Even if it's just our family though. I know our family's gonna be over helping with the baby and hanging out with the baby. And if we can hang out with the baby outside on the patio, I think that would be amazing. This is what I'm picturing. I'm picturing looking out at our peach farm and having my cup of coffee and a book and the baby next to me, and getting to have at least a couple of these moments. This is kind of another picture where you can see just the outdoor living vibe. Fruits, vegetables, a sundress. That just seems amazing. I posted a couple pictures of collecting eggs and chickens, because that's another big thing that we're doing this year is we're getting chickens, and we're setting up the chicken coop and getting chickens. We're also, another farm note, we are also getting some kind of animal. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a couple steers, because we want to raise as much of our own meat as possible. So I think we're gonna get 2 steers hopefully in the spring. So we'll be getting steers, we'll be getting chickens, and raising our meat, which I think will be so fun. And the chickens will mainly be, at least this year, they will mainly be for eggs and to help with the cut down on all the bugs in the peach orchard. So I think that'll be super helpful. I put my short hair on here. As you can see, I have a couple pins of short hair girls, and obviously already that has come to fruition. I have some pins of some happy obedient dogs. Whoa, get back here. Get back here. Some happy obedient dogs that are, whoops, my memory card ran out of space because I'm talking way too much. Whoopsies. But you know, I just have so many thoughts. I got lots of feelings, and you're just hearing them all today. Okay, as I was saying, obedient dogs, happy dogs that are companions, that are blessings to other people, that other people enjoy, that we enjoy all the time, that they're not a stress. That is a huge goal. And this is kind of the vibe of the entrance into our garden that I'm hoping for. I just really want it to be beautiful. I want to plant some kind of vining plant next to it so that the arch is kind of covered in vines. I think that's so beautiful. I love that. So this is kind of, I guess, the vibe of what I'm hoping our garden will look like. You can kind of see. I want to do little twinkle lights. I think that's fun. I think little twinkle lights would be such a vibe. Love that kind of old world, rustic. We have a hammock. Marcus actually made a hammock out of old fire truck hoses. So we have that. I just want the garden to be a nice place to be. I want it to be beautiful. That's what I felt like in Europe. Every garden, it looked so beautiful. It wasn't just something that was thrown together. My last garden, it was a lot of chain link fences, and we had like the wood pile with the scraps and like a bunch of tarps over, which was fine because that's what I had to work with. But this one, I want it to feel more intentional. Of course, picking peaches because we live on a peach farm, so there's gonna be lots of picking peaches in our future. I pinned some outdoor patio ideas because I think this year we're going to put a roof over the outdoor patio, which would be so nice. I love the curtains. I think those are so beautiful. And I definitely feel like it's easier for me to spend money when I have kind of envisioned it like this, because sometimes I get a little stressed out when we're spending money. But things like this, it makes me see like, okay, it will be worth it. It will be used. It will be a good investment for us. Wisteria, I just planted some, I have some wisteria, but this will be the first year where I'm pretty sure it'll be blooming. And I love wisteria. It's like my favorite plant. So I'm so excited to be able to have wisteria crawling up our house, and we can just sit on the porch with the baby and have the wisteria over us. It's gonna be beautiful. Of course, you can bet that I pinned some little cute baby pictures because a baby will be in our future this year, which is so exciting. I still can't believe that. I'm still wrapping my head around that. We have berries, fresh baked bread. We are foraging mushrooms. Whoa, get back here. We are making jam. We are collecting acorns. That's going to be the vibe of, hopefully, of the summer. I'm really hoping that's what last summer kind of was, and I'm hoping that this summer is going to be even more so. All the veggies that we'll have from our garden, berries that we'll have from our garden. I pinned this picture of Ballerina Farm because she makes me feel so much better about postpartum, because she has a baby and she's still doing stuff. She's still outside with her family, cooking, baking. And not to say that I would even want to do those things. Maybe I will just totally be like down for the count for months. But I'm really hoping that I can still have a life, you know? And I think that's like what's really pushed on moms, is like, when you have kids, your life is over and everything stops and everything is horrible and the worst and dark and deep depression, and I don't want my experience to be that way. In the garden with the baby bump, that's gonna happen for sure. That will happen for sure. With the baby in the kitchen, that will happen for sure. Okay, let's look up some positive birth photos. Okay, let's pin this one. Add that to 2025. And this one looks cozy with mom and dad holding a new baby. We'll pin that one. We'll pin this one of dad supporting mom. We're also going to do the nursery this year. That'll be on our 2025 vision for this year as well. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. This has been the longest video of my life, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to me jabber on and talk about last year's goals and dreams and this next year's goals and dreams. And I hope that it gives you the confidence and the boldness and the comfort to be able to dream about your life and to dream about what you would want to do with your life, and little ways that you can romanticize it and make it special, make it sweet, and dream, really, and allow God to give you vision and direction. And all this stuff is just fun, lighthearted. If my next year looks nothing like this, then that's okay. That's totally fine. But I do love getting to dream about the future. I think that is so special that we get to do that. And we live in a world and a country where we are able to do that, and we are able to make our life what we want it to be. Okay, friends, I think that is more than enough of my chatter. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.